Live from Cool Boys Central.
You're the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
From bat tips to bat nips, we are just cool boys revisiting Batman, the animated series, and wearing hats. This is Batman and Beyond, a Cool Boys podcast.
I see Batman and Beyond.
Greetings, Cool Boy Bat Nation, and welcome to another installment of Batman and Beyond,
Woo-woo!
a Cool Boys podcast. I'm Ballard.
And I'm Steve.
So cool. Tonight's episode is Tyger Tyger, burning bright in the forest of the night. This episode was directed by Frank Power, who the fuck knows. And it says here, Steve, story by Michael Reeves and Randy Rogel, and teleplay by Sherry Wilkerson. This episode aired October 30th, 1992. What? Day before Halloween. Great time to air an episode like this.
Mm-hmm.
This week's villain is Emile Dorian.
They should have just called him Dr. Moreau.
It really should have. I mean, it practically was. There's a movie version. There's like a poster you see in Arkham Knight, if I'm not mistaken. I think they all kind of blend together, but I think it's Arkham Knight where like there's like some kind of it says like the island of like Dr. Dorian and like something mutants or some shit like that. And it's like literally the final screenshot of this episode. It's just the poster that you like come across in the game.
That's funny.
It's like they definitely are like they know this is fucking Dr. Moreau.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's no doubt.
So Wikipedia says Selena Kyle is kidnapped by the villainous genetic engineer Dr. Emile Dorian and becomes his latest experiment to provide his man-cat hybrid named Tigress with a mate. Hashtag me too. Batman learns of this and comes to the island to rescue Selena. Hashtag time's up. He is captured and forced into a deadly game of cat and flying mouse. Die fliegende Maus, as Tigress hunts Batman through the island's jungles. Wikipedia, I'm a little bit frustrated you didn't mention Garth, the ape man, anywhere in here.
Well, it's just a quick little synopsis.
Yeah, real quick. They just gave fucking, like, few episodes back Edward Nigma's, If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? Like, 5 paragraphs.
Well, that's because that was a prime time episode. And remember, this one was so excited. It was probably like you that just, like, went on there real quick. And
prime time.
You probably just typed up, like, a couple paragraph sentences real quick on Wikipedia because, you
I threw it up there. And Ballard thinks it's fucking awesome, bitches. Suck a dick. Like type that actually in. How would you spell that? FWA. I think it should end with an M. Fwam. I like that. Fwam.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve, not to get off topic right away, but in 1996, I saw The Island of Dr. Moreau starring the best Batman, Val Kilmer, in the movie Island of Dr. Moreau, right?
You mean the Marlon Brando version?
Right, the Marlon Brando version.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve, guess what? I want to talk about Marlon Brando for a second. Did you know Marlon Brando was a monster, apparently? Allegedly?
What do you mean, like?
Well, allegedly, in Last Tango of Paris.
I don't want to get into talking about this.
He raped that woman in that movie.
No,
it was like on camera.
I think there's
She
more.
didn't even know apparently that they were going to do that scene, and then he forced himself on her. Here's something else that's crazy. Apparently, he was shooting Mutiny on the Bounty, and it was like this horrible, like, troubled film. Like, it was like said in some newspaper, it was like $6 million fucking like failure, and they were like calling like Marlon Brando like a petulant child and all that shit in the paper because he was like throwing all kinds of fits. Well, he loved Tahiti so much where they filmed it that he just loved these women, apparently, allegedly, and he just kept loving allegedly these women, and so he decided he wanted to own an island down there where he could have a bunch of these alleged women on this island with him all the time, and he built a village down there back in the 60s, the 70s, and eventually the island was like practically wiped out in the 83 like hurricane. But Marlon Brando is a wonderful human being, it sounds like. And this episode reminded me of him. And I just really think he sounds so monstrous. Apparently and allegedly, he did a lot of horrible shit. And he forced himself onto women, allegedly, apparently. Anything I say is slander? Am I okay?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you have anything to worry about with someone who's passed away.
So yeah, this episode straight up Batman does Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah.
And it's it's awesome though.
I kind of thought it was a little boring, but this was like one of the ones where you're talking about.
I get it. Okay, I get it.
You get what?
I get it. I just get it now.
Oh, okay.
It's boring to you, right?
It was one of those things.
I just see it as cinematic as fuck.
Okay.
But you see it as boring.
See what your same issue that you've had on multiple episodes where it's like
shut your goddamn mouth.
Where something happens to them and you're like, oh, how are they going to get out of it? Oh, I know they are, blah blah blah. So this whole thing where like Selena is turned into a cat, You
didn't think she was gonna be a cat forever?
There just wasn't that, like, there wasn't a lot of concern. It was just more like this was some weird, like, animators, like,
sex dream.
Like sexual desires or something like that.
It is totally. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can get into that, and it's so much later when Selena actually turns into a cat because there's things to be said. There's things.
Yeah, and it's like this whole thing with the male tiger. They never really is the male tiger not derived from a human? He makes it.
No, he's made from scratch. He says
it's made from scratch. That's
yeah. He's like scratch. Yeah, he
mean
blended a bunch
exactly?
of cat genes.
A bunch of just different. Must have done something human to make
for sure.
Talk.
Yeah, some poor sap was absolutely just kidnapped, Dragon's Island, and helped turned into Tigress. We do start this episode off though. Very weird thing is going on. I just have to call this out. It's a very weird thing that starts this episode off. Selena Kyle is sneaking into the zoo after hours to monologue at tigers. And maybe other big cats? I don't know. What? She just goes there just to monologue?
Well, they hinted she was about to go on a date with Bruce, and I don't think she likes Bruce. So she
hates him, dude.
You know
she
what?
delayed the date.
I'm gonna go to the zoo real quick.
She doesn't call Bruce, right? She calls the restaurant to let him know when he shows up.
Exactly.
That she's gone to the zoo to see a friend.
You
I would be like, dude, she's gonna go fuck some dude right now, right? I'd be like, what the fuck?
She has no respect for Bruce. But
no respect.
But if she knew Bruce was Batman, then she would have all the respect.
Hang on. But let's be fair here. Bruce is really creepy with Selena, okay? First of all, we've seen other episodes where Bruce has done stuff where she's been literally like, Bruce, don't touch me. He's like, Selena, you're hot, and all that stuff. But, like, in this episode, Bruce finds out that she's gone on a delay to the zoo to go meet an old friend, and he's like, what the fuck? And he immediately goes to the zoo. And why? Does Selena need you at the zoo? I don't think she needs you at the zoo, Bruce. There's no reason for you to go to the zoo, Bruce. But some reason he's just like, I have to go to the zoo. I have to go push myself under her. I gotta go, make sure she's okay. She's fine. Okay? She's a grown person. Let her be.
No, he's worried about her. Like, she was supposed to show up.
He is way too protective of her. It's creepy for someone who's not even dating her.
I think that they're supposed to be dating.
No, they're not.
The timeline is all whack on these.
No, they're not dating. He's having a business meeting with her that he's decided to make it into a dinner, which is just creepy again.
Alfred,
have it during the day.
Alfred's
in a
making
meeting
it seem
room.
like it's more than just a business meeting.
He wants it to be more. She doesn't, because this is what I think Bruce wants to do. I think Bruce wants to go, okay, once I can get her in love with Bruce, she's already in love with Batman, right? But once I can get her in love with Bruce, I can then tell her my secret.
I just love the backlighter. It's just like everywhere.
Backlighter is everywhere. Thank you, Steve, for talking about anything about my secret. Just move on to backlighter conversation.
I just saw it. Sorry.
It's okay. Monkey see. Yes.
Ouch.
Well, speaking of monkeys, we get a Garth the Ape Man in this episode. And you know what, Steve? There's something really interesting about Garth the Ape Man in this episode. when we see Bruce and the cops investigating the night watchman at the zoo, he describes a person as looking like a gorilla, like an ape, like monkey features. If I was Bruce and or the police officers, I'd be like, this watchman is racist. Fuck, dude. Whoa, like, whoa, dude. You do not need to say this shit, man. Like, no one's thinking there's a real Garth the Ape Man. They'd be like, dude, he's fucking super racist.
That's probably what he was thinking. He was probably like, oh, man, he should have just died or something like that.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. But before we got to the backlighter, and before we get to the backlighter again, Steve, we also get Dr. Kirk Langstrom, right? A little cameo, Mr. Man-Bat himself.
It was nice. It was nice to see that. I was pleasantly surprised.
Provides a little exposition for us, and a
little
as
intro,
well as a nice callback. Yeah.
And then I think he shows up, in an episode or two later.
Exactly, and it reminds us that when we eventually hit the whole She-Bat storyline.
Yeah, because we're like in episode 42, so it's been 41 episodes since that guy showed up.
Yeah, well, it's great. I like how they just kind of just planted him a little bit. Just remember.
I agree.
And it reminds you of essentially what you need to know for this episode. We're dealing in a little bit in the supernatural beastie
Genetic
realm
mutations.
Again. Right, exactly. So it kind of sets you up for what you're about to get, what you should expect. But it's also great because next week we get something very similar to that. We'll get to that later. But we eventually get Batman going to the island, right, Steve? What's he riding? Steve? What's he gliding?
He's using that backglider. I'm so excited for it. Every time I see it now, I get distracted. I'm sorry.
Where did he get that one from, Steve? Where was that one from? Steve, where's that one from? Is that one from Langstrom's building? Where did he get that one from, Steve? Where was that one from? Is that one on Langstrom's science lab and he just hops onto that one? Where did he get that one from, Steve? Where was that one from?
He had that from they showed he was flying the Batwing.
Oh!
And then he jumped out of the Batwing using the backglider.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. How forgetful of me.
Yeah, you were just rambling on about secrets.
It's like I didn't even watch it. And I'm just talking so much.
Did you not watch this episode? Is there a hit? Are you watching it right now? Is that what you're telling me?
Woo woo! And in Act 2 here, we have Batman so shocked indeed that Selina is now a true Catwoman.
Well, it is pretty shocking. I mean, come on. She was human, just like he was about to go on a date with her, and now she's like an animal.
Sexy Catwoman.
She's all licking herself.
Gross.
He's so proud. The doctor, he's seems so triumphant. He's like, look at what I have done.
He should be.
I guess, yeah, you're right.
He did an incredible job.
He should be more famous instead of just like an Island of Dr. Moreau, villain.
Bullshit wannabe.
I wonder if he's writing his article for whatever that, New England Journal of Medicine or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. I would meet up with him and I would want to be like, hey, turn me into like an orca man.
Orca?
Turn me into a dolphin man if you can't do orca. But I want to be dolphin man.
So you would want to be strictly stuck in the water?
God, yeah, swimming in the oceans.
Yeah,
like an orca. Oh, that'd be amazing. Naked cat people is so distracting, Steve. Just watching like Selina walk around as a naked cat person, Tyger just walk around with his huge dick out as a naked cat person.
Well, there's no like big swinging dick on Tigress, and Tigress is such like a weird name for a male. I feel like.
No, it's not. That's a great name.
I feel like Tigress sounds like a female name.
I don't know. If I got a cat like super badass and like thick and big like that, I would name him Tigress.
I would name him like Tigro.
Tigro. Okay, sure. Yeah. Well, whatever. And I'm just entirely shocked what's gonna happen to Selina with only 3 fingers and a thumb as opposed to.
Well, it's just like Man-Bat or whatever. They just like transform their body, just like it's like
Man-Bat's
probably
5 fingers transformed into like wings. Like they kind of show that.
But he then turns back to a human, so it's just like...
He doesn't lose an appendage. They just turn into wings. She lost an appendage.
Well, his appendages turned into wings. I mean, that's a pretty, huge
and it just shrinks back down. It just shrinks back down to normal fingers.
Shrinking. I think that's very painful process.
She lost a finger. It just fell off in the process of turning into a cat.
I think that they were like, it's just, classic animation at this point.
Steve, do you find this episode too sexualized with, Catwoman all wrapped up in this net and, like, dragged on the ground?
I don't, but it is, like, odd. The whole show, the episode, with her, Selena, basically being naked, going around, it's an interesting one. But I guess it's the same thing with now I'm blanking on it. Thundercats. Wasn't there like wasn't there a Thundercats character that's just basically like naked?
I think they're kind of all wearing like slightly some kind of clothing, if not like leotard.
There's, I guess, a big like animation, like furry, like sort of fascination of like anamorphic or whatever the term is, turning like into like sexy women. There's that whole Fritz the Cat series.
Ouch. Nice. Sexy. Steve, just listening to you describe it all is really sexy too, by the way.
Is it? All right.
Super hard over here. Super hard.
I feel like I should calm down then. I need to
a sex hotline?
Maybe after watching this episode.
Yeah, Steve, I would love to hear your sex hotline. This is Steve.
Can you edit out my so I sound a little bit more coherent?
Then your underwear, I mean. Just fucking with you, sorry.
Oh man, you're so hot. Well, I think that in this episode I don't have a lot of notes because a lot of it's just like fighting, so it's like.
Oh
Batman.
my God, the hunt. Yeah, the hunt is awesome. It's like silent almost, no real dialogue. It's fucking off the charts amazeballs. But then all of a sudden Batman's like, got Tigress up against a tree. And Tigress is all like, oh man, I can fucking talk. And my father hates you. And Batman's like, your father was a test tube.
It's pretty harsh,
It
like,
is.
Dang, like, what do you think? Do you think that would still pass muster in like this day and age where there's like lots of kids made through?
Fuck, Steve, you're talking about this is super insensitive?
Yeah, like
wow. You're not going to see that on any of your new Cartoon Network shows that you watch all the time, huh?
Those shows are very inclusive. It's funny.
They sound dumb.
No, they're great. They're all really good shows.
Don't mention them. Don't you fucking mention a goddamn single one of them on this Batman show we're doing here.
I am
By the way,
excited.
I love Samurai Jack.
I'm excited for
also
Young
love-
Justice. They're bringing that back. The new Young Justice season, 4 or whatever it is, I think, or 3.
Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Steve.
Oh, Battle on a Bridge? Is that what you're going to talk about?
You're right. They do have a battle on the bridge. And we have a cliffhanger act break where Batman and Tigress are falling to their deaths.
This one was a little bit more like, how are they going to survive? That wasn't an easy one. And then, Tigress just basically falls to his doom, and Batman's like,
Good riddance.
He was tough.
He was a tough opponent. Fucking Tigress is hardcore. Well, Tigress doesn't last, as dead long. He comes right back real fast and just
That was a
drops
big
in on
fall.
Batman.
Yeah.
So, cats always land on their feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it still, shatters all their bones.
Is Catwoman, does she want to stay a cat, or is she...
No,
she
okay?
definitely
doesn't.
Okay.
By the end
forget.
of the episode, it's very made clear. They're like, oh, the antidote's gone. And then Tiger's like, would you want to hang out? It wouldn't be so bad, right? And she's like, fuck that. I'm getting the goddamn antidote.
All right, I forgot about that. I must have dozed off.
Yeah, the episode is so good, huh? So good. Yeah, Tigress, he obviously, he's conflicted in this, and it happens after he, meets Batman after falling to his quote-unquote death.
He sees that he's a good guy, right?
Dude, yeah, he's like a good guy. He's conflicted, and, and pussy will do that to you, especially, Selena Kyle, fucking pussy people. That's what this is, really. I mean, they're all cat people.
Yes.
Steve, guess what we get in this episode?
Uh-huh.
Not only did we get a Steve-sponsored cliffhanger act break, we also get a Steve-sponsored electrical fire.
It has it all.
It has it all. And then an explosion. Because of the electrical fire, everything explodes. Oh, I wanted to note something, Steve. I heard in this. Batman actually says Batwing in this.
Ooh.
So we talked about a few episodes ago about how silly and ridiculous it would be for them to actually call things out by name. He fucking flat out says Batwing in this.
Well, sometimes you got to.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, sometimes you got to. And this one didn't seem weird. I guess. I mean, it really does come off natural. And then, I really felt this episode was just cinematic as fuck. Tigress is going to own that fucking island. I mean, he, essentially helps kill his boss, his father,
Yep. It's a sad story.
I guess he doesn't really die, right? They just take him into custody, but he's unconscious. He's fucked up as shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm watching it to remember because I do not remember.
Awesome. This is great content. Well, let's just get it. All right. Well, the final shot of the episode is used on the movie poster we mentioned earlier, Arkham Knight. But it's a gorgeous final shot. I think it's just speaks to how well this episode ends in a nice little cinematic way. It gives itself a whole kind of wonderful story that's all wrapped up and concluded in this. And I think that really happens next week again with Moon of the Wolf.
I guess another supernatural episode. They'd kind of do 2 in a row.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of funny that they have Batman fight big battles with huge, ferocious manimals.
Mm-hmm. I guess it was just that. Maybe it was what was the date of the airing on this one?
October 30th, 1992, the day before Halloween. And Moon of the Wolf will air actually on November 11th, 1992. So there is some time in between. Steve, what would you give this episode? Why don't I go first because I'm actually going to like this episode. I gave it 5 out of 5. I loved it.
Dang, you love this episode? Wow.
Yeah, I love this episode. I really loved the storyline. I liked its cinematic appeal. It was good.
Yeah,
good.
I give this one 3.
Yeah, you seem to hate it, huh?
I don't hate it.
You're all like, I slept during it.
No, I must have fallen asleep, because I forgot that ending. But I remember it now after watching it again. But yeah, it was a good episode. But I guess for whatever reason, this the whole she's transformed into something else. I don't find as compelling.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Great stuff, Steve. Yes. Cool Boy Nation. I love when you go, yes.
You hate it on me, man. All
no,
right.
I love it.
You hate me.
I actually love it. I cut it into the episodes most often.
You hate me.
Okay. Cool Boy Nation. Tune in next week. Same Cool Bat time. Same Cool Bat channel.
Yes.
Cool Boy Bat Nation, be sure to let us bat know what you bat thought of Tyger Tyger, or what your favorite bat episode is by bat emailing us at batmanandbeyondcoolboys@gmail.com. New episodes come out every Tuesday. Also, check out our other great Cool Boy Central content with the Cool Boys Podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Patreon. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Cool Boys and review us on iTunes. Also, donate to us on Patreon. It only costs $1 and you will receive special access to content too hot to air. You can find the Cool Boys on Patreon at www.patreon.com/coolboyspodcast. Thank you for listening. Stay cool, Cool Boy Bat Nation. Until next time, it's Byzies from Ballard.
That's Byzies from Steve.
All right. Okay, we got something there.
Yes.
So cool.
Batman
And beyond.
Oh, yeah.
Batman
and beyond.
Oh,